They said it was a myth, a city swallowed by the sea, never seen again. Just another legend, until it wasn't. In 2000, a team of underwater archaeologists made a discovery off the coast of Egypt, something buried beneath mud and ocean for over 1,000 years. It wasn't Atlantis. It was something real. This is the story of Heracleion, the lost city that sank into the Mediterranean and lay forgotten for centuries. Heracleion, known to the Egyptians as Thonis, was once a mighty port city on the edge of the Nile Delta, where river met sea. It thrived between the 6th century BC and the 4th century AD, long before Alexandria was built. Heracleion was the main gateway into Egypt. It was a place of incredible wealth, trade, taxes, temples, and travelers. Merchants from Greece, Phoenicia, and Persia docked at its harbors. Pharaohs came to honor the gods. The city disappeared from maps, memory, and history itself. And the sea brought gold, spices, statues, and ideas. But as time passed, Heracleion wasn't just a port. It was a holy city. According to ancient texts, it housed the grand temple of Amun-Gareb, the god of wind and fertility. Here, pharaohs would come to receive the divine blessing before claiming the crown. Priests, nobles, and travelers described the city as filled with colossal temples, obelisks, and ceremonial boats gilded in gold. One Greek legend says that Paris and Helen of Troy stopped in Heracleion before their fateful voyage sparked the Trojan War. It was a city of myth, and yet no one knew where it was until one man found it. In the late 1990s, French marine archaeologist Frank Gaudio led a team into Abu Qir Bay near Alexandria. Their goal, to find Napoleon's lost fleet. But what they uncovered was something far older and far more extraordinary. Buried beneath 10 feet of sediment and silt, they found colossal statues, shattered pillars, and temples, all underwater. Using sonar, magnetometers, and deep-sea divers, they mapped a city lost beneath the Mediterranean. This was Heracleion, and it was real. For over 1,200 years, it had been hidden by the sea. And now, it was rising again. What the team found was breathtaking. A 16-foot tall statue of the god Hapi, colossal pillars, 64 sunken ships, 700 anchors, dozens of gold coins, stone sarcophagi that once held bulls, mummified as offerings to the gods, and over 75 ancient temples and shrines. The inscriptions were bilingual Greek and Egyptian, proving the city was a melting pot of cultures and trade. Preserved in the sediment were tiny vials used in sacred rituals. And then, something stranger. A massive ceremonial boat, to 43 meters long, likely used in temple processions, still resting intact on the seabed. Heracleion wasn't just lost. Sand-filled jugs of olive oil, amulets engraved with prayers for safe passage. It was frozen in time. Among the ruins, archaeologists didn't just find statues and coins. They found human stories, frozen at the bottom of the sea. Necklaces still clasped. One small statue of a child was found lying near a collapsed column, possibly an offering or something more personal. Even the weights used to measure grain in trade were still neatly stacked, as if left in a hurry, never to be used again. Researchers believe the collapse was not one cataclysmic event, but a series of smaller disasters over decades. And that's what makes it more chilling. Heracleion didn't go out with a roar. It slowly drowned, as the people who called it home fled, adapted, or were lost with it. Mapping Heracleion took years, and the work is still ongoing. Frank Gaudio and his team, working with the European Institute for Underwater Archaeology, used side-scan sonar and sub-bottom profilers to chart the city's structure. They discovered roads, canals, temple complexes, and a vast network of docks. Even underwater, the city's design showed precision. One of the most remarkable findings was how Heracleion functioned almost like Venice. crisscrossed with canals, bridges, and ceremonial causeways. This wasn't just a city on the coast. It was a floating temple world. The more they uncovered, the more the city began to resemble a myth brought to life. But there was no magic here. Only sediment, salt water, and centuries of forgetting. But how does a thriving city simply vanish? The answer lies in geology. Heracleion was built on unstable ground, a network of clay and soft silt where the Nile met the sea. Over centuries, the weight of monumental temples compressed the land beneath. Earthquakes shook the delta. Flooding from the Nile grew worse. And then, sometime between the 2nd and 8th century, the city collapsed. The foundations liquefied, buildings crumbled, temples fell. And slowly, Heracleion was swallowed by the sea. Not in a single moment, but gradually, relentlessly, over decades, until only silence remained. The story of Heracleion isn't just about the past. It's a warning. Much of the Nile Delta today still sits on fragile, soft earth. Coastal cities from Venice to Jakarta face the same risks: subsidence, erosion, and rising seas. Modern Alexandria, just 30 kilometers away, is also sinking, slowly but steadily. Heracleion reminds us, no city is permanent. Even the ones that seem eternal can be lost to the ocean if we stop paying attention. It took over 1,000 years to find Heracleion again. What will be left of our cities in another 1,000? When archaeologists dive into Heracleion, they aren't just studying a city. They're moving through a forgotten world, one that once echoed with prayers, commerce, music, and then nothing. Subscribe for more forgotten cities, buried civilizations, and the stories still hidden just beneath the surface. It's quiet now, but not empty. Every sunken statue is a witness. Every cracked obelisk, a reminder. The sea never forgets, and sometimes it lets us remember. This is Veridark.